Soon after the announcement of first-quarter GDP numbers which came in at 7.8%, Nageswaran said that high tariffs are expected to be short-lived as both the countries are in talks for removal of the 25% penal tariff and a subsequent bilateral trade deal. Chief Economic Advisor Vyatha Nageswaran on Friday expressed confidence that Indian economy will grow at a rate between 6.3 and 6.8% in the current fiscal on strong domestic demand, even as there would be some downside risks to the projections due to steep 50% U.S. tariffs. Soon after the announcement of first-quarter GDP numbers which came in at 7.8%, he said that high tariffs are expected to be short-lived as both the countries are in talks for removal of the 25% penal tariff and a subsequent bilateral trade deal. Despite the reciprocal tariffs and penal tariff imposed by U.S., and after seeing the resilience of Q1 growth, we are retaining the growth rate projections for current fiscal at 6.3–6.8%, Nageswaran told reporters. He further added that the downside to GDP growth forecast for the current fiscal is unlikely to be significant. The economic survey tabled in Parliament in January had projected real economic growth at 6.3–6.8% for FY26. Moreover, Nageswaran hoped that aggregate demand growth should hold up in the coming quarters as GST rate cut is on the cards and festive demand will drive consumption. India's economy grew by a stronger-than-expected 7.8% in April-June, its fastest pace in 5 quarters, before U.S. President Donald Trump imposed tariffs that now cloud the outlook, threatening key exports like textiles. The gross domestic product (GDP) growth in the first quarter of the ongoing fiscal year was mainly driven by good showing by the farm sector, and also helped by services like trade, hotel, official and real estate, according to the latest government data released on Friday. The previous highest pace of growth in the country's GDP was recorded at 8.4% during January-March 2024, as per the data. It is interesting to note that India remains the fastest-growing major economy, as China's GDP growth in the April-June period was 5.2%. The agriculture sector recorded a 3.7% growth, up from 1.5% in the April-June period of 202,425, as per the data released by the National Statistics Office (NSO). However, manufacturing sector growth increased marginally at 7.7% in the first quarter of FY26 compared to 7.6% recorded in the year-ago period. Also read India posts 7.8 GDP growth in June quarter of FY26 against 6.5%.